The thing to do is, have you been through the lectures and the PowerPoints?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, have you seen at the beginning of every lecture, and it's also on the website, you see the main points of each lecture and also the PowerPoints, the main ideas?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, have a look
Yes,
at
sir.
those, then listen to the lecture or read the transcript, and then go back to the main points. That will help you make sense of the landscape of each particular
Okay, sir.
topic. Yeah, and it is a matter of landscape. It's like getting to know a strange town or a strange neighborhood, or maybe some strange forest that we have walked into. When we go walking there a lot, we start to understand the landscape. We can't learn it at once. And
Okay,
that's why I
sir.
have main points and keywords. And if you follow the transcripts or the lectures or the book, you'll see I've set out the main ideas first, then we cover the main ideas briefly, and then the main problems, each time with examples, and then some of the wider ideas that may arise as a result.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank
Do
you,
you
sir.
read? Yeah. Tell me, Gayatri, do you read news magazines like Outlook or Frontline or The Telegraph?
No, sir. I just follow the Hindu newspapers. That's all.
Yeah. Okay. That is the most serious one.
Yes, sir. I'm a UPSC aspirant. I just want to explore. Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
I can well, what I would say is, I'll say this. I said the same thing to my first year students many years ago in a British university where I studied. I did my PhD and I used to teach there. I would always say with the first year politics course, and that is very similar to our ideologies course. The first term was like our ideologies class that we've just done. I would always say to pass this course is read the serious newspapers. Okay, it was a little bit of a joke, but if you read even Frontline, for example, or if you look at the EPW, which is reasonably freely accessible on the net, or if your university or college may have access to it, keep an eye on the main headlines. For example, at the end of January 2020, the central government introduced a huge new package of aid for the private sector because the private sector was facing terrible economic problems. So I saw this, and next time I was in class, we were doing the same topic, liberalism, and so I put it up on screen. Okay, I already have computers, and I just went to the internet and put it up on screen, the Indian Express or New Indian Express headline. And I said, okay, the government have done this. How is this to be reconciled? Can it be reconciled? Should it be reconciled? Is it consistent with their ideology? And the students said, oh, right, we're doing neoliberalism. And here they are behaving like Keynesians, state aid for the private sector. You see, so read the newspapers. If you read the Hindu, that is excellent. Read the headlines. Do you read the analytical articles in the Hindu? Center page?
Yes, sir. I used to, but not regularly. But if the time persists, I do that.
Okay, well, my suggestion is, I think I've also mentioned this in the how to approach the course in the sidebar of the course, when you log in or when you go to the portal. Have a look on the front page on the net. They give the main news and then main analytics. If they're of interest to you, or you think they may have some, if they're just of interest to you, or think, oh yes, that deals with what we're dealing with on the course or any other class you're doing, just have a read of it. Just a quick read to start with, then read it slowly. Don't feel you have to cover the whole paper all the time. Did you look at the how to approach the course advice in the sidebar?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I saw that.
And I put in something on using the newspapers and news magazines to help you.
Yes,
so
sir.
Just keep it. We can't take it all in. We can't remember it all at one go. But what we do develop is a sense of the landscape, like I said.
Yes,
yeah? It's not too late to do that. Don't try and remember everything. Don't try and get on top of it straight away. Try and remember the main points of each topic, just the main ideas in each topic, 4 or 5 of them for each, and then the main problems. Okay?
Okay, sir.
I'll send practice essays as well. Have a go at those with instructions.
Sure.
Okay, I'll send those to everyone. That's for absolutely everyone.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, good. I hope I've answered the point you raised.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. Would
Yes, sir.
anyone else like to add anything? Please feel free. No questions. Maybe answer all your questions.
Hello, sir. Hello.
Yes, good afternoon. Who's this,
Good
please?
afternoon. This is Zainab.
Hello, Zainab. Yeah, tell me.
Sir, I have a doubt. I have two doubts regarding the nationalism topic.
You mean queries or questions? Yes.
Sir, I have queries on the
Okay.
assignments that we had on nationalism topic.
Okay, I can't hear you very well. There's a lot of noise. Is that around you?
There is a lot of noise.
Kind of, there is a lot of noise.
Just give me a minute.
Yeah.
Sir, can you hear me now?
Yes, Zainab. Okay, please go ahead. What's your query?
Sir, the 10th question claims to national independence without claims to ethnic, religious, or linguistic identity or other such
Yeah.
forms of identity are. And the correct option is
Yeah.
claims to statehood and circumvent many of the problems of nationalism. So I didn't understand this option.
Okay, wait a moment. Is that from the MCQs, the weekly assignment?
Yes, sir.
Okay, well,
Week 11.
give me a moment. I'll call it up on my screen so that I can go to the original as I set it, and then we can talk about it. First of all, what do you think? You see, the point is, it's about the Scottish independence movement. Am I right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Scotland is, as you know, one of the devolved regions of the United Kingdom. Parliament accepted the claims by Scotland and Wales to have their own assemblies. Give me one moment, please. I will call this up. Right. And can you read out the question again, please, while I'm calling it up?
So question number 10 claims to
Yes.
national independence without claims
Yes.
to ethnic, religious, or linguistic identity or other
Yes,
such
one moment.
forms of
Yeah.
identity are.
Yes. Yeah.
And the correct option is claims to statehood circumvent many of the problems of nationalism.
Okay, one moment, please. I'll just go check this myself. Right. Yes, nationalism MCQs test. Yes, okay, got it. I'll just call it up on screen. Then I can go through it exactly as I set it. I have a feeling that, I mean, I need to be careful what I say. It may not have gone up on your site exactly as I wrote it. Occasionally that is a problem. Let me just call it up. Okay, what do you think is the answer?
So I thought the fourth option have to generate theories of national identity.
Yeah. One moment, please. Fourth option, let's have a look. Yes, you thought right, you thought D. Anyone got any other possibilities to raise? Would your classmates like to say what they think about this one? So if we make international independence, but we don't lay any claim to ethnic, religious, linguistic identity or any other such form of identity.
I thought it is a third option, sir. Founded on assumption about the national identity.
They're founded on assumptions about national identity. Yep. Okay, any other suggestions? Put forward your idea, we'll discuss it. Excuse me. Okay, well, have you done the assignment and completed it already? Hello, can you hear me?
Sir, we couldn't hear you. Can you repeat?
Yes. Have you completed the assignment or are you still doing it?
No, sir, we completed and we submitted that assignment. The deadline was yesterday.
Sir,
Yep. Right. Okay. Have you looked at the answer?
Professor, hello, I'm Subhash.
Yes.
The 10th question is claim to national independence without claim to ethnic, religious, or linguistic identity or other such form of identity. I have I mentioned the second option, the claim to statehood and circumvent many of the problems associated. That is
Okay.
accepted answer. Yes. Yeah.
Tell me why you said that. Why you selected option B, claims to statehood.
I am selected as because I go through the transit and they are they are clearly mentioned there. The statehood is clearly mentioned. Statehood what is not in first option, second option, third option.
That's a
Statehood.
very good point. Why do you think the answer has to do with statehood? Okay. Anyone
Hello?
would like to address that one? Why statehood? Looking at the transcript of the book. Okay.
But sir, the seventh question then goes against it. The seventh question asks nationalism as an organizing principle, and the accepted answer is totally undermines the idea of statehood.
Indeed. Indeed.
So then the 10th answer, how can it be that it claims to statehood?
Claims to national independence. You remember the context? Yes, yes, indeed. That's a good question you've raised, but if I make a claim to independence, but I say our claim to independence has no organizing principle of ethnic, religious, or linguistic identity. No such thing. You don't have to be a particular gender, you don't have to be a particular sex, you don't have to be a particular of an ethnic group or religious or religion, or you don't have to speak a particular language, but we are making a claim to independence. What kind of claim is that? What kind of entity are we creating? We're creating a state, not a nation. Can you remember the transcript? I think in the transcript and the book, I've said statehood without nationalism. Let me give you an example. Are you all citizens of the Republic of India?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
What is the what is one of the organizing principles of the Republic of India? If you are citizens of the Republic of India, how have you become members of this republic? Does it matter what faith you follow, what gender you are, language you speak?
So we are born into it.
You're born into it. You're born into a republic. When you were born, did anyone come rushing up and say, okay, what gender are you? What language do your parents speak? What religion were you born into? Does that make any difference to your citizenship of the Republic of India?
No.
No, exactly. Exactly. And when the claim was made to Indian independence from the British Empire, did anybody say you have to be a certain faith to be an Indian, a certain religion, you have to have a certain language? Did anybody say that?
No.
He said it's enough. You will be a citizen of India. Can you see the difference?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is why now that is the Republican conception of citizenship. Now, of course, here in the UK, we have a very powerful Scottish independence movement. The Scottish National Party is the strongest party in Scotland. I think at present it holds something like 48 out of 60 of the parliamentary seats in London, the SNP. And it holds, in coalition with the Greens, it holds a majority in the Scottish Parliament, which is elected by a semi-proportional system. Now, the Scottish National Party has never made any claim at all. Do you remember the seminar document in this topic?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, everyone in Scotland, they say, is one of us. End of story. Right? All faiths, all ethnic backgrounds, it doesn't matter. Right? That's enough. So with Scottish independence, Scottish passport, end of story. I'll give you an example. I think one of my old passports when I was a child may have had, it's so long ago I can't remember, Hindu written on it, because at least in theory I was born into a Hindu family, at least in theory. We never practiced. But I remember for many decades now, when I had an Indian passport, I'm British and have been for many decades already. When I had an Indian passport, it never gave the religion. It said citizen of India. End of story. Can you see the difference? The state of India, the Republic of India. Can you see the difference?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Is that still the case under the Constitution of India? Is that still the case?
I don't think so, because so on my passport we have a Muslim written under my it's written Muslim. No, not Muslim. Which religion you follow? It's written Islam. Religion you belong to.
Right, but now that may be new because I was looking at one of my old, it's now 30
correct. Yeah.
the other day, and there is no faith given in that. No faith at all. But let me ask you this question. Yes, I'm a little surprised the faith is now given on your passport, but does it make a difference that you are not a citizen of India because of that?
No.
No, exactly. So is your citizenship conditional upon your faith?
No.
No.
Not legally.
Is it conditional upon your home language?
No, not at all.
No. Is it conditional upon which state you were born in or which state you live in?
No, sir.
No, you're all citizens of India. Right? Now, let me offer you a little contrast. The United Kingdom has no written constitution. It has an official faith, which is the Anglican Church. It's the Anglican Church, and I said this in the lectures, we're an Anglican state, and the monarch, the Queen, is head of the Anglican Church, right? Actually, the nominal titular head of the Anglican Church. So we are not a state like a republic, like Germany or France or United States or India or many other republics. We're not like that. South Africa is a very good example. We are an Anglican state. We haven't got a constitution. Our parliament is, at least in theory, sovereign. But when you look at our system, you will find many of the things that ordinary modern democracies have. We have reasonably free and fair elections. We have a reasonably independent judiciary, a reasonably independent civil service, and so on. A reasonably free media. Reasonably, there are controversies. So we look like a state, but in actual internal organization, we are not the kind of state that India is. India is a constituted republic, and the Constitution of India makes it very clear if you're a citizen of India, that's that. You don't have to be of a certain faith or speak a certain language or born into a certain state or whatever. Yeah. Or living in a certain state or whatever. You're an Indian citizen. So can you see how the claim to statehood simply,
So may
you
I do
know,
a correction?
yeah,
So it's not written on the passport. I remember it was asked while I was filling for a new passport, but no, I just checked and it's not written on the passport.
indeed, well done. It's not written. I would be very surprised if it did have it. I think one of my earlier passports when I was a child had it, but I really can't remember. And I looked
So
up
I
this
got
afternoon.
confused. Because I
Yeah,
remember filling
yeah, tell me.
have asked. No, they definitely did ask. But I was not sure. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So I remember filling while I was filling the passport verification form, they asked for if I belong to minority quota or not. And then I had to write Islam, but then I got a little bit confused. If we are republic,
Right.
then a passport or any other document or citizenship document such as voter ID should not have
Yeah,
asked our religion. So I just checked it and I found it. No, it's not written. I'm so sorry for the
indeed.
confusion.
No, not at all. You did the right thing raising the question. You're absolutely right. And it's excellent that you were thinking about the questions in the weekly assignment. It's excellent that you were thinking so hard about them. Right?
Yes.
Well
Sir.
done. Well done.
Thank you.
Would anyone like to add to that? No? Okay. Well, I hope that's addressed you've done right to raise the point, because today we see many claims to nationalism. Can you think of one particular part of the world where terrible things have arisen because of a kind of ethno-nationalist claim?
So recently in French elections, it's going on. I think
That's
Maria Le
very,
Pen,
yeah,
which is
Marine Le
also
Pen, yeah.
mentioned, yeah, in the transcript. I think the work example of nationalism. You have also mentioned her. What in the
Yes.
2017 election, and now again she's claiming to give citizenship and have. I mean, her entire focus is on pure French breeds. Like, pure
Well,
French.
what does that mean? She does say that this is a claim to what? What kind of claim is it?
Extreme nationalism or
Yes.
right wing.
Yeah. Is she racializing membership of the French state?
Yes, sir. Correct.
Yes, absolutely right. The National Front has always done that. The Front National have always done that. And Marine Le Pen is certainly doing that. Right? She even threw her, but there was an episode where her was the leader of the Front of the Front National, denied the Holocaust or came close to it, and she actually threw him out of the party. That was too much. But remember, anti-Semitism, anti-Jewish feeling has been very widespread at times throughout Europe, as you know. I mean, we've covered the Holocaust on the course, and that was a claim to racialized membership and membership by faith. Right? So
I recently read news report that she's also found to be supporting Vladimir Putin and his action, like in earlier interviews.
that has always been the case. That's been the case for a long time. Yes, well spotted, well spotted. You've been reading the papers. In addition, only one Russian bank, that was the only bank that would take the French funding from the Front National, that would take their accounts. The only bank that would take their account was a Russian bank. So well spotted. You read the papers. Well done.
Thank you, sir.
Yes. So can you think of relatively recent examples of a state where you were a non-citizen or a second-class citizen, depending on your ethnic origin? Can you think of one? Not that far back.
So Israel.
That's a very good question. Yes, there are, in fact, Israeli members of the parliament of the Knesset. Israel, I'll put this to the best of my knowledge, does award citizenship to Israeli Arabs, but then they are Israeli citizens born in Israel. I've met one or two, and there are members of parliament. In fact, at one point, the Arab representatives in parliament held the balance of power after a closely fought election. They have a fully proportional system. But the example I have in mind was apartheid South Africa, where anyone but a white South African was not a full citizen in the internal processes of the country. It was it was evil. And I knew many people involved in the anti-apartheid movement, including journalists, one who was nearly arrested by the Secret Service 10 minutes before he boarded a flight out of Johannesburg. He was a close friend. So there are countries which do this. In practice, of course, all societies have terrible, hideous inequalities, mainly because of history and culture, and because many of the laws that they should have are only weak laws or they're not implemented. We know that all over the world. But your question is an excellent one. Can we, is it the case then that ideas of modern statehood must insist that membership of statehood is membership of statehood, and that's that, irrespective of ethnic or religious or linguistic identity?
Right, sir.
Yeah, I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you've made a very good point, all of you, on this topic. Well done. You've raised a very good question. Anything else you'd like to cover?
So I had a doubt with week 10, Technocracy and Managerialism.
Yes.
So what is target-driven system?
Okay, do you remember, have you read the transcripts?
Yes, sir.
Okay, anyone else like to help Zainab with that question, please? What is target-driven managerialism? Any suggestions? Okay. Have another, we'll talk about it now. Have another look at the transcript after our discussion or at the textbook. Okay. What is the central idea of managerialism? The theory of management. What is the central idea?
That they have to be neutral at all times, and the focus should be on the success, whatever. On the success. The focus should be on the result.
Yes. You're on the right lines. Anyone like to add to that? Okay. If I'm a manager, what claim am I making? If my specialism is management, what kind of claim? What does that mean?
That I'm overlooking all the process that's going under me.
Yes, okay. And can I do that when I'm managing anything?
Yes.
Any organization, any farm, it doesn't matter. If I'm a manager, I'm a specialist in management.
Yes. That's one of the core concept of management, that I do not need to be specialist in any other field to manage it.
It is the central claim of managerialism. So if I'm a good farmer and I produce wonderful fruits or crops or whatever, or wonderful cattle or milk or cheese or whatever, and another farmer goes, yes, right, so you've done this is so fantastic, what a great way to look after your cattle, what a great way to grow your apples or wine grapes or whatever, right? If I'm a great wine grower, there are many fantastic wine growers. I have to know about grapes and the soil and climatic conditions and what to do when we pick the grapes, how to look after them, what diseases they might get. And this is true in all activity, right? If I'm a good doctor, I have to know what a good patient's condition is. what the prognosis might be, what treatments we can use, how to apply the treatments, how to advise the patient, and all the rest, or how to organize an operating team and so on. But and because of my specialist knowledge. But if I'm a manager, I organize all these people, all these activities. Now they can say, look, yes, we made a mess of that one, or no, we did that one really well. It was a really tough operation in the theater, surgical team. You know, we did it well, or these doctors did it well, nurses and so on. But if I'm a manager, how do I show that what I've done was excellent? I managed it brilliantly. How do I show that?
The results shows itself. The success
Okay.
of the operation.
Yeah. But what results do I show? I can't say, well, yes, this patient was very seriously ill. They had this condition. We did the operation, and look at them. They're recovering so well. They'll be out of here next week, or whatever it happens to be. I can explain the biochemical process.
Yeah, the recovery of the patient is one method to show up, like how fast he comes back to his normal life. Can be used as one term to define the success of marriage.
Okay, so I can say, yeah, in my wing of the hospital, 99% of patients were out within 1 week. Did I actually treat them?
No.
Did I diagnose them, treat them?
No.
Drips in them when the drips fell out at night? No. So how do I show that I'm a brilliant manager?
So I didn't understand your point.
Well, I mean, this is precisely the point about managerialism. In order to show that our managerial activity had some effect, we have to invent our own indicators of success. And most of these are reduced to the kinds of targets that you mentioned. Oh, so 99% came out within 1 week. What's our percentage of readmissions, you know, and so on and so forth. So we end up with usually single numerical indices to show managerial success. But supposing a patient has an emergency on the ward, do the staff go running to the manager? Whom do they go to? They go to the doctor, the duty doctor, all right?
Right.
Now, the point is, what is the actual content of managerialism? And that is the whole argument of the lecture on managerialism. It's actually the subject of my PhD. I saw certain kinds of managerialist assumptions in the public services after I took my degree when I was working in the public services. And of course, it's far worse now throughout the world in every activity. But I thought, hold on. Claims being made here about the causal effect of managerial intervention, and even the claim to managerial expertise itself. And I thought, well, I had read philosophy of social science when I was an undergraduate, one of my third-year courses. I think I had to do that, it was a compulsory one for my particular range of options, and a range of courses. And no, this just does not add up. It is completely empty. You remember the passages in the lectures on cause and effect?
Yes, sir.
Managerialism has to, in the end, collapses into an account of effectiveness and constant conjunction. Secondly, human situations themselves are often far too complex for managerial intervention to have predictable outcomes. And there are examples in the transcripts. Remember, Hitler promoted Paulus at Stalingrad to field marshal. Hitler had no supplies to send, but he promoted Paulus knowing that no German field marshal had ever been taken alive. What he meant was, you fight on till you're all dead. What did Paulus do? Do you remember?
Yes, sir.
What did Paulus actually do?
So
He surrendered.
Yeah,
He surrendered. He was thinking about the lives of his troops. And every military commander will say there is a point at which you will have to think about saving your troops, save their lives, instead of fighting this battle which is already lost. Right? Well remembered. Now, every German field marshal until then. But could we have said, oh no, Paulus will do what everyone else has done? No, Paulus didn't. So can you see what kinds of problems managerialism is creating for itself by assuming causation and predictability in human conduct? In other words, it's reducing us to less than human. It has to treat us as subhuman in order to prove its own status and expertise. Have a look at the transcript. I know it's a tricky point to get hold of, but the manager has to claim a specialist knowledge which nobody else can challenge. Does that remind you of anything else?
So technocracy.
We're certainly, yes, technocracy and managerialism have that in common. In a real technocracy, the technocrat says, but at least the technocrat makes some claim to knowledge, right? And we can at least in principle challenge it, as has been done frequently, right? And there are examples in the book. But the manager has to say that only I can decide it's not good management and a good outcome and a good performance of your job. What does that say about the rest of us? We know nothing and our judgment is not proper judgment, is not human judgment.
Right.
Yeah? Now, can you see where that is leading?
Yes.
In relation to the manager, are we, sorry, tell me. Where is it leading?
So we are lowering our values by giving the manager a higher value, like treating him as that he has a knowledge of all and his understanding is the best of all. Even though it may not, it definitely is not true, but it's like giving him a superior authority over normal human beings.
Okay, now what does that remind you of?
Fascism.
Absolutely right. Spot on. This is extremely close to a form of Nazism. I have called it in my PhD thesis and in a book which I published in 2011 or 12. I have called it a new form of totalitarianism. My PhD examiner remarked on that phrase. He said, this is absolutely right. It is a new form. The argument is that this is a new form of totalitarianism. In other words, we are subhuman. The whole of managerialism makes the rest of us subhuman. Our judgment, our knowledge is not real knowledge, and it is automatically of a subordinate status to the knowledge of the manager. And yet, you're right, when we examine managerialist knowledge, it is empty. It's fake. What's your reaction to that?
It's unfair.
Well, yeah, you're absolutely right. Okay, and today, those kinds of grotesquely inflated claims to managerial authority are made much less, but they are still inherent in the whole theory of managerialism. Very pervasive around the world. So
recently, Indian railway system, they have combined their separate exam with the UPSC exam. So I remember one of the point of the people who were against this merger, they said something related to managerialism. They said the railway system is very technical system, and you need
Yes.
to have certain amount of knowledge based on that technical system. And whereas
Yes.
UPSC and bureaucracy is, the knowledge is basic, like that of a managerialism. So if you combine both of them, the result could be catastrophic.
Well, that's a very good point. We have to watch developments. You're right. It's a really excellent point you've raised. And you're thinking about these issues. I will offer a second point. Remember that public sector bureaucracy is the same as managerialism. Do you know why? I've covered this in the lectures, but do you know why?
Yes, sir. That was what I was going through. That one point is good for the system, but the another point that the managerialism will lack the technical knowledge that needs to run Indian system is also valid. So we need something that goes both, like that check out the managerial issue as well as the technical issue. That the manager needs
You're
to have
absolutely
the
right.
specific technical knowledge
Sure.
as well.
Sure. But my question is this. What is the difference between public sector bureaucracy and managerialism?
The public sector are democratized. They have a legislative to follow.
Yes. And ultimately, to whom do the bureaucrats answer?
The public.
The
I mean,
public.
Not really the public, but in India, they are answerable to the legislator.
That is true in all democracies. To the legislature, and to whom do the legislature answer? To whom do the legislators answer?
Public, the citizens.
The public, absolutely. Right? They make the law, but we could throw them out for making bad law or implementing it badly. Okay, I know these are theoretical points, but they're very important conceptual differences. Would, if someone was convinced of managerial authority, would they accept such judgment by the publicly elected legislators or by the public?
No.
They could not accept it because of the epistemological, the knowledge foundations of their claim to management. Yeah? Can you see the point? Yeah?
Yes,
okay. I hope this will help you. If you go back through the transcripts on managerialism, I hope that will help you.
Sure, sir.
Yeah. Now, time is going by. Have you found this session helpful, all of you?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's our concluding tutorial. Okay.
It's a little bit
Shyam
hard.
is here. Yeah. Shyam, did you want to say something for a couple of minutes before we wind up?
No, sir. I'm good.
Okay, Shyam, you wanted to raise the question of Osmanism under President Erdogan. Am I right?
Yes, sir. That was in response to a question when we were discussing the nationalism sentiments in different countries.
Yeah, it's a very good point. This is not new, and there have long been historical issues between regions of the world around Turkey and nervousness about revived Ottomanism. I would suggest that we haven't time to discuss this in detail, but if you want to read about it under nationalism or under fundamentalism, yes, excellent, do that. Have a look at the transcripts and have a look at authoritative analyses. You will find these, for example, in the German magazine, Der Spiegel International. The international edition is published in English, and it is the translation of the German edition. It's one of the world's outstanding news magazines. Heavyweight news analyses, 3,000-word articles or so. Have a look at those, and I hope that will help. It's called Der Spiegel International. I mentioned it in the How to Approach the Course document.
Right.
Der Spiegel in German means the mirror or mirror. Der Spiegel International is the English language edition. Obviously, if you speak German, read it in German by all means. Yeah, try that. You'll find you'll almost certainly find
Thank you.
Yeah? Have a look, and if you'd like to email, the forum, we will still be meeting for a few days. Yeah. Now, Mr. Balaji has given us his time, and it's holiday weekend is starting, so we should wind up. I hope you found our helpful?
Yes, sir.
No need to tell me. And if you don't find them helpful, then I do want to know.
No, they were very helpful.
Good. Well done. Some of you have attended very consistently. And good luck with the preparation for the exam. I'll send a couple of practice essays, optional. Have a go at them, even if you do draft answers, that will help.
All right, sir.
Okay. All the best, everyone. Thanks to Mr. Balaji, Mr. Sri Balaji. Thank you very much. Excellent technical help. And we would look forward to catching up again when we can. Okay. All the best, everyone.
Thank you, sir.
All the best. Thank you, Mr. Balaji. Many thanks.